Hello, everyone. Robert Saunders here again. And again, I'm with my good friend and colleague, Mr. Michael Wells, across the United States from me, but we're doing it from wherever we have to record videos, which is awesome. And today, a sought-after video, a lot of people are asking, how do we migrate a virtual machine, one or many, from a vSphere environment over to Red Hat OpenShift? Michael, introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Michael Wells, engineering technologist with Dell Technologies.
Awesome. So let's get started here. Here we are at the Red Hat OpenShift console screen, brand new 4.19 that we deployed with the Dell Private Cloud, enabled by the Dell Automation Platform. So let's get going here. Initial Red Hat OpenShift console, and then over to the operators. Michael, tell me a little about these operators that you installed here.
All right, so first of all, we've got the migration toolkit for virtualization operator, which we've pre-installed onto this cluster. This is what's going to enable that migration, not just from vSphere, but also from other things like Red Hat virtualization, migration of OVAs, even migration from other OpenShift virtualization clusters. This operator is freely available in the Operator Hub. And once you've deployed it, it's just a matter of configuring that forklift controller instance and then going through and creating your providers. So we've already got the forklift controller instance created, and we'll click over into the providers. And here you can see we have that vCenter provider to connect to that VMware source system.
And ironically, that's a vCenter, and it has a vSphere cluster there that we also deployed with the Dell Private Cloud, and we put a Windows machine on it, which is what we're going to migrate over to Red Hat. So all part of the same Dell Automation Platform, I guess, ecosystem. It's pretty cool.
Yep. So as we look into this, so you can see we've provided the URL for that vCenter instance with the /SDK location, the credentials for that, and the VDDK image, which is what's going to be used to actually convert the VMDK file here.
And there's all the virtual machines, right?
Yep. So here you can see all the VMs that we have on this particular vCenter cluster, and that WinServer 01 is the virtual machine that we're actually going to be migrating today. So here we've created the migration plan already. We'll go ahead and click into that migration plan. And you'll see that we have the source provider. So we're pulling from vCenter. Our target provider, we're targeting the OpenShift cluster that we're currently running on. We've defined the target project where we want this VM to move to. And we've defined the migration type. In this case, we're going to do a cold migration. So we're taking a virtual machine that's off and migrating it. And then it will be in the off state on the OpenShift cluster. There is also the concept of a warm migration to migrate running VMs.
That's good to know. Good to know.
So here we look at the virtual machine included within the migration plan. We only have a single VM here, but we could easily do multiple VMs as part of this migration plan. And here we can see all of the information related to that virtual machine. These are informational warnings. If there was anything that would block the migration of that VM that needs to be remediated, we would see that here as well. But all of these are given the state of this VM, are all expected. Next, we have mappings. So we're going to take the network map. We're defining anything on this virtual network within vCenter is going to go to the default here is the pod network. We could also do network attachment definitions, or we could do other types of more fine-grained networking. But for this case, we're just going to move it to the pod network. And then the storage map. So we're saying any virtual disks on this data store, we want to use this storage class to create those volumes.
Pretty powerful here, and a lot of flexibility going from two different hypervisors. There's a lot of power here that I didn't even know about until we started working through these demos and building these ecosystems. I love the flexibility here that Red Hat brings to the table.
So now that we've got that done, we're going to go ahead and kick off the migration plan. Now, this can be done through the user interface, but there is an API behind this, so you could very easily script all of this as well. So
Very
here we can
nice.
see the migration plan progress, the initialization, the allocation of the disk, the image conversion, so converting that to a QCOW2, the actual transfer of the disk, and then the creation of the virtual machine here. And you can see all of those resources that are getting created. We can click right into that virtual machine. We can see it's in the stopped state. Go ahead and start that up. And we'll see that VM start to boot.
And I think, Michael, we notice it will reboot a few times as it comes online, which is fine. Yep.
Yes.
There we go.
All right, and then to console into this, most people are not going to use the console on a regular basis. They may want to use RDP, especially for a Windows VM. So what we're going to do is we're going to create the RDP service. So what this is doing is it's actually creating a Kubernetes service that's going to listen on a designated port and then forward that to the RDP port within the VM. So we'll go ahead and expose that RDP service and click Save. All right, and when we scroll back down here to the details, we'll actually see under services, it's created this WinServer 01 RDP service. And this is actually a node port service that's listening for requests for this. So now if we go back to console, we'll see under desktop viewer, we can see now we have a launch remote desktop. If you click on that, it's going to download that RDP file with the path to that node port connection. And here we can actually log in using RDP
And
directly.
we're actually using the same credentials that we had before with the other vSphere local account. So, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's the same VM. All of the data here is migrated across, but we've now been able to remote into this VM without doing any specialized networking. And we're not exposing the entire VM outside of the cluster. We're only exposing that RDP port.
Right. So migrated and secure. That's nice. That's nice. And then, of course, for fun, we did put a video of this crazy guy talking behind here to make sure we did get data migrated, which we did. So now, snapshots. We also have that.
Yes. So the virtual disks themselves live on the storage that you pointed to using the storage class selection. So with that storage, we have the ability to take snapshots to then protect these running VMs. So we can take a snapshot, and this is using a volume snapshot class within Kubernetes. So it's taking a Kubernetes snapshot, and then we have the ability to then revert back to those snaps to protect these VMs.
That's nice. Fully functional, fully migrated VM, protected. A lot of different options here. This is pretty powerful. Thanks, Michael. Thanks for joining today.
Thanks for having me.